Story 1. Peeko. The one in the photographs. Peeko has no origin story because Peeko has always been there. Look at your oldest childhood photograph, the one with the birthday cake and the paper hats. Look at the background, at the doorway just behind the guests, slightly out of focus. That small shape in the shadow, the one that looks almost like a toy someone left there. Look at the smile. Peeko appears in the background of photographs, always slightly out of focus, always partially in shadow, always in the back of the frame, behind the real subjects, as if it wandered into the shot by accident. It has been identified in photographs as far back as the earliest days of film photography. Always the same shape, always the same dimensions, roughly the height of a toddler, rounded head, disproportionately long fingers visible if the image is enhanced, a face that is never fully clear, but always, always visibly smiling. It is in school photographs, family portraits, holiday snapshots, security camera stills, ultrasound images twice in documented cases, standing behind the sonographer's shoulder in the reflection of the darkened monitor. The rule with Peeko is it only appears in photographs of happy moments, birthdays, weddings, graduations, the candid shot someone takes of a group of friends laughing at dinner. It is always there, in the background, watching the happiness. Researchers, the small, unpublished, largely ridiculed community of people who track Peeko sightings, have noted two consistent findings. Finding 1. In photographs where Peeko is visible, the subjects of those photographs report within 12 months of the photo being taken a period of sudden and inexplicable loss, a relationship that ends, a job that disappears, a health diagnosis, something taken. As though Peeko found the peak of their happiness, marked it, and something followed its gaze to feed. Finding 2. Once you know about Peeko and begin looking for it in your own photographs, you will find it. Not because it was always there in your photos, but because looking for it is how it finds you. Right now, somewhere in your camera roll, in a photo you love, a birthday, a holiday, a night with friends, there is a shape in a doorway, in a shadow, in the background that you never noticed before. Check. It's smiling. Subscribe for more chilling tales, and whatever you do, don't look at old photos alone at night. Story 2. The signal from somewhere else. Priya Sharma was not supposed to find the signal. She was 26, a junior data analyst at a satellite communications company called Arcturus Systems, and she was running a routine frequency sweep on a Thursday evening, overtime because the senior engineers had gone home and someone had to finish the quarterly audit, when the anomaly appeared on her screen. It looked like noise at first, most anomalies do, but noise has patterns, and Priya was good, genuinely, quietly good at her job in a way her supervisors hadn't fully appreciated yet. And what she was looking at wasn't noise, it was signal. Structured, repeating, originating from a coordinate range that made her stop and check 3 times because it didn't correspond to any satellite in Arcturus's array or any known orbital body she could cross-reference in the public registry. The signal was coming from approximately 1,200 kilometers above the Pacific Ocean, from nothing. She flagged it internally and went home and didn't sleep. By morning, she'd convinced herself of the rational explanations: atmospheric bounce, a military frequency she wasn't cleared to know about, instrument error in the sweep array. She'd worked with satellite data long enough to know that space was full of electromagnetic chaos that could fool a receiver into seeing structure where there was only interference.
She went back to the office. She ran the sweep again. The signal was still there. Same coordinates, same structure. Except it had changed. The pattern, which she'd spent 4 hours the previous night analyzing, printing out, spreading across her kitchen table, had responded to something. The sequence was different. Not randomly different, purposefully different, the way a message differs from a reply. Priya sat very still at her desk for a long moment. Then she did something she would spend the rest of her life questioning. She encoded a return signal, simple binary pulse sequence, prime numbers, the mathematical hello, the universal first handshake that SETI researchers had theorized for decades. She routed it through one of Arcturus's peripheral arrays, flagged it as a system test, and sent it. She told herself it was an experiment. She told herself that's all it was. The reply came in 47 seconds, not the weeks or months or years that any known physics of distance and signal travel would require. 47 seconds. Whatever was at those coordinates, it was not far away in the way that space is usually far away. Or it had been waiting. The reply was long, complex, far beyond the prime number handshake she'd sent. This was layered data, compressed in ways that took Priya 3 days to even begin deconstructing. She worked alone. She told no one. She wasn't ready to be the person who reported something she couldn't explain. She'd seen what happened to the senior engineer 2 years ago who had insisted on a data anomaly that turned out to be a calibration error, career-ending embarrassment. She needed to understand it first. What she eventually extracted after 72 hours of coding and cross-referencing and barely sleeping: images. Not photographs, not anything with clean resolution, reconstructed approximations, the way an MRI reconstructs internal structure from magnetic resonance of places, locations, rendered in a format that Priya's software translated imperfectly, blurrily, into something her screen could display. The first image was her office, her desk, her monitors, the half-eaten granola bar on the left corner that she'd been meaning to throw away, rendered from an angle that didn't correspond to any camera position inside the building, slightly from above, slightly from outside, as if seen through the wall, seen from somewhere that shouldn't have line of sight. The second image was her apartment, her kitchen table, covered in printed signal analyses. The third image she never fully described to anyone later, even when a journalist she trusted pressed her for details. She said only that it was a room she recognized, a room from a very specific memory she'd never shared with another living person. She closed the files. She deleted her return signal from the logs. She filed the anomaly as instrument error and signed off on it. She handed in her resignation the following Monday. 2 weeks after she left Arcturus, she received an email. No sender address. The field was populated with a string of characters that her email client rendered as a small square, the symbol for an unrecognized glyph. The subject line was empty. The body of the email contained a single image attachment. She opened it. It was a photograph, a real photograph, sharp and clear, of her sitting at her kitchen table, current, taken through her kitchen window, which faced a narrow alley, taken from outside, from the alley, in the dark. She was looking at her laptop in the photo. On the laptop screen, visible over her own shoulder in the image, was the same photo she was currently looking at. Priya put her laptop in a drawer and has not opened it since. She currently works at a bookshop in Edinburgh, Scotland. She chose Edinburgh, she told a friend once, because it rains so much that the sky is almost always covered. She doesn't like to look at clear night skies anymore. She doesn't like the feeling of being looked back at.